The Penn State situation has a target that James Laurinaitis offered a while back, and that's Elijah Littlejohn. He was already trying to flip him, and it didn't look like it was going anywhere. Well, now Elijah Littlejohn got a decision to make, and they all do. And Elijah Littlejohn is a kid out of Charlotte. We watched him on the show here. He's a 4-star top. Let me pull up his card here. So a 4-star, the Rivals industry ranking has him at 362 in the country. The number 26 linebacker, 247 has him as a 4-star, the number 243 prospect in the country. He is 6'1.5", listed at 215. I think he might be a little lighter than that. But when we talk about the body frame that Laurinaitis seemed to be looking for out of Curry and Jaden Williams, who are both about 205, right? Burners, sideline to sideline burners, to go with his bigger body linebackers with CJ Sana and Sincere Johnson. It all kind of made sense. I'm not sure that Littlejohn kind of seems to be in the middle of those two. And I don't know that he has the speed that he doesn't have the speed that Jaden Williams has. He has the speed that Curry has. But either way, Laurinaitis really likes him. I don't know if there's been contact made with him yet, but it would seem to make sense that there certainly would be, because the Williams thing doesn't look like it's going anywhere anytime fast. Jackson Samuels Ford. I don't know. Some have him as Samuels Ford, some have him as Ford, but 6'3.5", 240-pound 4-star edge. And the Buckeyes were in it to the end. They were in his final 3 when he announced, and he is a top 200-ish type kid who fits really well with this class. Obviously, Larry really wanted him the first time around when he committed to Penn State. Now, as we sit here with not too many options, right? You've got Kari Wilder as your singular edge committed in this class, but Kari is a unique player in the fact that he'll play everywhere along the line. Like, they're going to use him like we're seeing Caden Curry all over the place, I think. And then you've got Dre Quinn, who just came in and visited. Dre Quinn was the Clemson commit who decommitted from Clemson. And if we're talking about Dre Quinn or Jackson Samuels Ford is the higher rated player. The Buckeyes like Dre Quinn more, and he'll have the first seat at the table there if one of those two wants to get in the class. But Dre Quinn also being really heavily pursued by his runner-up before he picked Clemson, and that's Texas. And we know how Texas operates. So that one seems like, who knows? He likes the Buckeyes, and the fact that he chose Clemson over Texas does say something to us, right? Clemson doesn't pay like Texas pays. So the fact that he chose Clemson over Texas the first time around makes you think maybe money really isn't his first priority. So who knows there? But Jackson Ford, definitely a guy that the Buckeyes are in contact with, definitely a guy that they want in the class if they can get him. So we will see, but he hasn't decommitted yet, right? We got to hear if these guys are decommitted yet. Elijah Littlejohn hasn't either. By the way, Littlejohn next to Petty John, like, that's just meant to happen, right? I wouldn't be too mad about that. That would be pretty sweet. But Jackson Ford, Dre Quinn, the two options that have now opened up at edge. And there were none about a month ago. So really nice that we got two options here potentially on the board. As we move into the class of 2027, the guys that were committed to Penn State, you got a couple Pennsylvania kids, and one of them, the number 1 running back in the country, who's my number 3 running back in the country. Come on, spell. And this dude is electric. You could say there's a little Saquon to his game. He's 5'9", 205, obviously 5-star, number 1 in the composite, number 1 in 247's internal ranking from McKeesport, Pennsylvania. And this dude is fun to watch, man. This kid is fun to watch. 2-way player, busts his butt, seems like a really nice kid with his head on straight. But he's 5'9", 205. And David Gabriel George, who is the number 2 back by all their rankings, is not. David Gabriel George is 6 foot. I think he'll play in college like Bo Jackson right now at 224. He might walk in at that. And he's just got a little more of the frame that I'm looking for a running back. And he's got all the juice too. So maybe not as elusive or as breakaway fast as Come On Spell, but I'm taking David Gabriel George over him every day and twice on Sunday. I believe the Buckeyes are as well. Nonetheless, an excellent back. You'd certainly love to have him at the program. And he is, right at the top of the leaderboard. Decommitted from Penn State. He likes Ohio State. He'll visit Ohio State, as will Khalil Taylor, who is another Pennsylvania native in the class of 2027, who was committed to Penn State. Khalil Taylor, a four-star top 10-ish wide receiver in the country from Pennsylvania as well. And he is also from Pennsylvania at 5'11", 180. He's got a Buckeye offer, and this is a kid who can really, really move. Obviously not a big kid, but he can move. He can blaze. The issue with this kid, if it's true, is I have heard that he is going to be a really expensive type of cat. Really has been shopping around. He was thinking about decommitting before the firing happened, and there was some rumors that he was getting shopped around by his agent for some big money back then. So that could be true, could not be true. That's how the recruiting rumor mill goes. I don't know, but I did hear that. But a really, really talented kid and a guy who will come see Ohio State. He'll be in town for the game on November 1st. So some potential there. Then you've also got Jimmy Kalis, who was not committed to Penn State, but from Pennsylvania. Penn State was high on his board. He is an offensive lineman who Tyler Bowen really likes. He's been to Ohio State 5 times. His sister comes to Ohio State, and that sounds like more and more likely that may end up with the Kalis brother in the class. His older brother, you might remember, Kyle Kalis, went to Michigan. So that would be cool. Then you've also got Leighton Von Brandt, who was committed to the Penn State class of 2027, and he is a borderline 5-star tackle. Rivals has him as a 5-star in the top 32. 6'5.5", 255 pounds. He is a lean kid, ready to come in and get developed by a college offensive line staff, college strength and conditioning staff. Moves great. Absolutely love this prospect. I think this is going to be one that'll be a super, super high dollar guy by the time it ends. So we'll see. But they had him committed in their class, and we got to talk about him. And then, of course, there is the one that everybody wants to talk about, and that's Chaz Coleman. Chaz Coleman, I did a video not too long ago about Chaz Coleman, and the video I did about Chaz Coleman was just my frustration with losing Chaz Coleman out of, basically it was, complacency. Ohio State lost him out of complacency. He signed on signing day in December. Ohio State offered him in November, and you have got to be better with Ohio prospects than that. Chaz Coleman has gone into Penn State and shown the country that he is an absolute dog. And it wasn't far-fetched when you watch this kid's film and his measurables and his 360 windmill dunks on the basketball court that he was a freak athlete. This guy is an edge at Penn State. He literally played quarterback in high school at Warren High School. And he was an amazing, fast, elusive quarterback. He looked like TP out there. Remember when we used to say, boy, Terrell Pryor, you could play him anywhere. Put him at tight end, put him at edge. This is that kid. This is TP at edge. The dude's just ridiculous. He has a 24% win rate. To put that in comparison, the best Ohio State edge rushers have a 14 to 15%. Now, he's played less snaps. He's just a dude. He's an absolute dude. He's going to be a beast, and he is just a couple of games into halfway through his freshman season. True freshman season, and they absolutely love him. They call him the Chasmanian Devil. So I did this video, and I had all these people in the comments telling me I was crying. Look at the team right now. The team's in first place. You're going to worry about it. And I'll never get over the fact that so many people do not understand that discussing recruiting is talking about the team 2 and 3 years from now, not the current team on the field. Totally different conversation. But the staff right now at the school, at any school they're at, is setting up what's going to be on the roster 2 and 3 years from now. And letting that kid walk out of the state of Ohio, absolutely disgusting. Disgusting, because it wasn't a big money kid. He went to Penn State. This wasn't like some money deal. This wasn't some Trey McNutt. This wasn't some Rock Hill that went to Oregon or USC because they got a huge bag. This kid walked across the border to Penn State. And those are the ones that hurt. Those are the ones that hurt. Now, Everybody, including I'm sure many of those who came in those comments and lectured me about being pissed off that we lost out on Chaz Coleman, wants Chaz Coleman now that James Franklin is gone. Let's go get Chaz Coleman. Chaz Coleman, the way this operates now with the new rules, once the head coach is fired, the players have to now wait 5 days until after the new coach is hired. So him and everybody else who wants to leave Penn State in the portal that's currently on the roster has to wait till they hire a new coach, and that new coach gets 5 days. So is it a pipe dream to think that Ohio State could potentially get him? I think so. Here's why. Penn State is going for a big swing. They're going to get the biggest name guy they can get. And when they get that guy, there's going to be a lot of energy and a lot of buzz around Penn State. Now, Chaz likes Penn State. So all the energy and all the buzz is going to be around Penn State. And if you are that new coach and you are walking into Penn State and you've got 5 days to convince as many of those guys as you can that you want to stay on the roster, who are the top 5 players you're going to pick? Well, you're going to pick the youngest, most impactful guys on your roster. Chaz Coleman literally might be your number 1 pick on that roster. He might be the first guy you go to and say, Chaz, I need you on this roster. And let's keep in mind, Chaz was not a huge recruit, right? He was probably middle of the pack for Penn State. So his initial his initial revenue share deal with Penn State, not very big. Now, when you re-rack the roster from a new coach's perspective, who's just walking in the door, well, he is significantly higher on your priority list now. Significantly. So he's automatically getting a raise from anybody. But if it's a smart coach, he's getting a huge raise to stay at a place that he likes, at a place that the fans love him. And boy, do you get extra bonus love if you stay through this. So I think Chaz Coleman ends up staying at Penn State because there's no way that new coach is going to let him go. But if he did, and he hit the transfer portal, I think that it would be one of those bidding wars that gets so stupid. Now, this is the type of guy Ohio State would pay for at this point. He's now shown he can do it in college. I'm not saying they wouldn't. I think they would go maybe even outside the comfort zone, but we've even seen what happens when they go outside their comfort zone. There's all, like with Luke Waffle, for instance, they gave Luke Waffle their best offer. USC got him. And then Ohio State came back in and gave him another offer, and the Buckeyes got him. And then USC came back and offered stupid money. And it was just like, all right, man, it just feels like there's always going to be that one fool out there that overextends themselves and resets the market for a guy like this. If a school like USC is willing to do that for Luke coming out of high school, then a school like Miami or Texas A&M or Texas Tech or USC is certainly willing to do that for Chaz Coleman after he's now shown it in the Big Ten. That's my thought on that. So the Chaz Coleman situation, I think it's a 0.2% chance that he ends up at Ohio State after all this, because you got to get through the initial coach coming in and him trying to keep him. And then you got to get through the rest of these dogs coming in with their checkbooks and their pens, ready to do whatever it takes to get him on their roster. Unfortunately, the Buckeyes had their chance. They missed it. So that's what I think about the Chaz Coleman situation. Boy, I hope I'm wrong.